What's up, guys? Today I wanted to talk about some Gray Zone Warfare and discuss with you guys regarding the latest Night Ops update. First off, thank you for the love and support on the past videos. You guys are killing it on the channel, and I am extremely grateful for that and hope to keep it rolling with you guys. I wanted to talk a little bit about the current state of Gray Zone and my thoughts on it, so without a further ado, let's get into it. Keep in mind, these are my thoughts, and I would love to hear your guys' feedback on this and on this video. I know Madfinger is always lurking in the comments, so always feel free to share some constructive criticism or some positive takeaways. The first real talking point I want to address is AI. AI in Gray Zone is the main center of attention right now for most players, whether good or bad. It's what everybody's really talking about regarding issues with it or if they're not having issues with it. AI, for my opinion, is in a rough state. That's what I believe. Almost it feels like at times it's stupid. Then all of a sudden, it feels like it's more of a Terminator on this patch than it was during the first wipe cycle of this game. It's much more inconsistent to me from this period, or this wipe, excuse me, than it was from the previous wipe or from when the game launched. It feels like before we knew they were aimbody, but they were just kind of the same behavior. Now they're kind of almost a behavioral difference where you run into an AI that's completely just dumb to the situation, and then the one right next to him will completely laser beam you from 100 meters away. It's very difficult to predict with this, and definitely, difficult to orchestrate moving around an area or a POI. AI ruins almost all PvP and major POIs right now. Fort Nereith, as everyone knows, is practically hell. The AI there are impossible, but the thought of PvPing in an area like that is truly what captivates me. For example, having fights in Tiger Bay just feels completely just almost undoable really in PvP fights, just due to the simple amount of AI that are there and the way they play and how aggressive they are. I will say that the Tiger Bay AI do feel easier than the Fort Nereith AI right now. However, it wasn't like that before. It was kind of flipped before, so I'm not sure what they did in tweaking that stuff. I get it, military AI, but I want to be able to fight players in Fort Nereith. I feel like that's a really cool POI, that huge airstrip inside of that, the terminal, the admin building, and things of that nature. PvP fighting in there would be a lot cooler, excuse me. And I think that there's a big gap for that in terms of being able to fight in these big POIs instead of really in the Forest Mountain. I don't want all the PvP to go away from the Forest Mountain fighting, but I also want to be able to engage in these cool, awesome PvP fights in these suburban areas. That's how I feel like a lot of players are looking for that, and I do feel like the PvP players simply struggle the most from AI, and that's something that to me affects the player base in a long term more than short term. Right now, it just feels like AI is better than players. It shouldn't feel that way personally in PvP mode. I would like to bring to light the idea of Warfare AI being toned down. However, in PvE mode, the AI are the only opposition, so it is understandable if this AI is toned up to be very lethal. If you get what I'm saying, that means in PvP mode, the AI is kind of dumbed down. It truly isn't that much of a factor in these fights. You still have to be aware of it, but it won't laser beam you and it won't completely just take you out of any fight in order to deal with that over the other players. In in the PvE mode, Joint Ops, I do believe that AI should be tweaked up. I do believe that this is obviously the main opposition you're fighting, and you're obviously having to deal with this, and prepare yourself to go into a POI or, go complete a task, and notice that the AI is definitely going to be an opposing factor because the other players aren't going to be affecting you in Joint Ops. However, I want to circle back. In Warfare, you're going to have to deal with other players, and having to be aware with other players and realistically be aware of AI more importantly than other players, because you're going to get more laser beam from them, isn't really something that I really enjoy. However, that might be my personal opinion. Again, everything I'm sharing here is my personal opinion. I'm doing my best to gather the situation about what's going on with Gray Zone from Discord, from Twitter, from YouTube's, and streams. So definitely trying to put that together and try and, mush that in from what I'm gathering and what I'm understanding. So maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong, but that's just kind of my thoughts. How do you guys feel about something like this out of curiosity, where maybe the PvP AI is toned down and the the Joint Ops AI is actually toned up? At this point, AI, in my opinion, should in total just be dumbed down to a point where it is much easier than it is in its current state, allowing them to work on it and tweak it and fix it up. Continue working on that snap they make that randomly will snap onto you and hook onto you and just absolutely laser beam you. I want to mention though that their behavior of tracking through walls, bushes, etc. is getting better, but their accuracy is still way too lethal. AI is affecting the player base every day, and I feel like this drives more and more players from hopping into Lemang and Gray Zone and trying it out. Curious though, do you guys have friends or know people who have dropped Gray Zone Warfare or aren't playing anymore really due to the AI simply being the one factor that they're not touching it? Very curious on that. So if you guys do know, make sure you guys share that down below in the comments. I will be reading through all that. So with enough harping on the AI, I would like to talk about some positivity for a second. Let's switch up a little bit. Performance with day-night update has actually been a solid step in the right direction with my PC build. I run a 4070 and i7-13700K, 32 gigs of DDR5 RAM. I feel like it's important to put my specs in there so you guys obviously have a basis of where I'm coming from. For me, the performance in POIs has been about 30% better. But what's your guys' performance been like with this update? It's truly been running a lot more stable, less crashes overall, and more frames from that performance buff. Also, I want to mention that the game is absolutely beautiful. Dawn and Dusk, which are what they have added in with this update, obviously day and night cycles, are absolutely stunning. What they did with these time cycles have absolutely made this game even more beautiful with Unreal Engine 5. The game flat out is beautiful, period. There's no other game that looks this good that is like a looter shooter open world, not DayZ, nothing like that. It just doesn't compare. This game is absolutely stunning. While talking about day and night cycles, nighttime and NVGs, let's address this. Outside of immersion, NVGs really bring nothing to the table in most cases. More of a hassle than anything. I would love for NVGs to really impact the fights, rewarding those with higher level traders to have an advantage with better NVGs available to them. What do you guys think about that? Do you guys use NVGs in game right now? I'm very curious. I feel like NVGs are completely just useless in my opinion because you're just not going to be able to really use a site with them. You need to have a leveling factor, right? In order, if they're not going to be really good with sites, then you need to make them really a need to use them because right now most people just run no NVGs and be able to use their sites and be able to still see the nighttime, the moon cycle. I know that they mentioned, I want to, emphasize this, is that they mentioned the fact that the game is going to have different moon cycles and it's going to affect obviously how dark it is in nighttime. But in total, I believe that they need to turn the gamma down in the game because that just affects how much players can see. And of course, with that in mind, then you're not going to really have a need for NVGs and that affects the immersion of it. But outside of immersion and outside of those really, really, really dark jungle areas, you really won't be needing NVGs. You'll actually be a disadvantage against a player who isn't running NVGs. And that's my personal opinion. That's what I've done. I've been running NVG, I haven't been running NVGs because I could probably just see a lot better than I will with having them on and I can still use my scope. That's my thoughts on it. Again, let me know, are you guys using NVGs or do you not feel the need for them right now in the game? Inventory management. While this may not be a big issue in the grand scheme of things, being able to auto sort would be an amazing early to mid game feature. This allows us to organize the new loot and manage our inventory much better, especially for those with a standard account, because you guys obviously have less inventory space. Throughout playing the game, you will be able to unlock more stash space. You can obviously get up to the Ultimate Edition stash space. When purchasing the Ultimate Edition, you just get all of that stash space unlocked. I would also like to talk about why you can't purchase more containers from vendors. Containers are a huge W for Gray Zone Warfare. When they added it in with this update, I was ecstatic. It's almost essential to any game like this in these looter shooter genres, being able to store storage, obviously without having to take up all your inventory and organizing it a little better. This was huge. When they mentioned this was coming with this update, I was super duper ecstatic. But why can't we purchase them? Please, Madfinger, let us be able to purchase them from level 3 vendors so we can organize our inventory better. Even if there's like a limit on how many we can buy, being able to buy like 2 or 3 of those storage crates might be better off than just being able to buy one of those weapon crates. I do think that this is a really big factor, and I do think a lot of people would love this. On a similar note that I want to talk about while we're talking about inventory management and loot, the high-end loot. The quote-unquote valuable stuff. It needs to be worth more, plain and simple. Guns are much more expensive than really a 2K laptop you can find out there and bring back and sell to the vendors. It's just not really worth it. Bringing back guns and bringing back stuff over that valuable loot is going to net you more money in the long term. I think that the higher end gear should be in the range of 10K to 20K. That's like the price of, for example, bringing back some of those rare items that you find out in the world or find on a boss. 10 to 20K is a lot more realistic because it is important to understand that buying like a meta gun build is going to cost you in a range of, let's say, 3 to 5K or 3 to 6K, right? Like buying that high end game level gear. And that's just a gun. We're not even talking about armor, ammo, magazines, headsets, all that stuff, bags, right? That's just the gun itself is going to cost you that 3 to 6K. So bringing back an item that's only worth $700 and considering that higher end loot is to me not really worth it. I know there's balancing to be done with it, and obviously I'm not just throwing a number of 10K to 20K out there, but obviously there's more discussion to be had on this. What do you guys think is a good value point for this higher end valuables? I want to get your guys' feedback on that, but I do think that it really needs to be stepped up and honestly put more value on it because I'd rather fill my gun or my bag up, with guns and firearms that I find on AI or other players versus just some higher end loot. It's just not going to be worth it for me in the long run. And obviously some of these items are much bigger. I mean, there are sort of like 1x1 or 2x2 items, but to me personally right now, it doesn't have the value. It doesn't hold it there. And it doesn't give you, the biggest thing is it doesn't give you that rush. It's like, oh my God, we found this item. It's worth so much money. To use Escape from Tarkov as an example, whenever you find a LEDX in that game or a GPU, it's like, holy crap, we found a LEDX worth 700K or 800K or a million rubles, whatever it is, right? You don't have that in this game right now. And I do think that's a really big factor, and it adds some more sweat to the game. So I definitely think that that's a really big thing. How do you guys feel about that? Again, let me know down below in the comments. I also want to briefly talk about gun builds and variability. I personally think that they did much better with making other guns viable or different ammo types, but let's keep tweaking and working on this. I want an AK to still feel stronger with a 7.62 bullet than a 5.56 bullet. Personally, me, using an AK still feels like a downside over an M4. However, with this update, it does feel better to use the AKs overall, but I still think that the meta gun is going to be M4. I don't see why anybody would rock a AK over an M4, especially in PvP fights. The way the gun handles and the way the gun plays compared to an AK, I still think needs some more tweaking. How do you guys feel about this? And let me know below, what guns are you guys running? Very curious about that as well. Also, a server counter would do wonders for PvP players. For PvP players, knowing we're in a full 48-player server with other factions being filled up would be such a relief. A lot of us enjoy the PvP and the thrill that is in Gray Zone Warfare. I know that they mentioned that their main focus is PvE. However, that PvP enjoyment in those fights is just something that I really don't get a rush like in any other game. I know this is a small feature, but trust me, having this in will drastically improve the quality of life, much like Faction Chat, which was added with this update. And that was a really big change. Another one like containers. I was freaking so excited when I read the patch notes and they said they were adding this in. Ecstatic. 10 out of 10 change. Great job here, Madfinger. Let's give some positivity where, let's give them good feedback when there's coming in, because containers and Faction Chat are small things in a grand scheme of things, but really, really big for the quality of life. Listen, Gray Zone Warfare is the most unique looter shooter out there. Open world, constant action, and beautiful landscape. I understand this is a project and a marathon, not a sprint. I want to love this game, and I still do, but the little bugs just start dragging this game down more and more. It's like trying to swim upwards with this game with weights around the ankles right now, and it's very frustrating to me, and I'm sure for some of you guys as well, but I'm sure maybe some of you guys aren't even experiencing these issues, and really they don't bother you that much, and you're like, oh my god, why is this guy just ranting? Just go play the game or play something else. I get it, but for me, this game is dear and near to my heart, and I want it to succeed, and I really want to share your guys' feedback, and I always want to listen to the community. I want to connect with Madfinger. Obviously, I talk to the devs regularly, and being able to share with them a lot of my thoughts and my community's thoughts is really important to me, and I want this game to succeed. I really do. I have no hate towards Madfinger or towards Gray Zone for all the frustrations. I understand that making a game is not easy. We can't even understand be put in their shoes to be obviously putting out this product that's never been done before with Gray Zone Warfare and understand what they're going through. So we know that, and I want to make sure that that's clear from my side. And I also want to say I appreciate the game so much. I want to say I also appreciate the game so much and everything the Madfinger team has done for me and my community. Words can never be placed on how grateful I am for all the love you guys have shown me, everyone in the GZW community, whether I've talked to you guys in Discord, in-game, in the YouTube comments, my live streams on Twitch, wherever it might be. You guys have interacted with me over the last 6-7 months, and it has been amazing. Truly a just dream for me, and able to, be kind of like a voice for the community in Gray Zone Warfare, and I'm so, so grateful for that, and I'm never going to take that for granted, so thank you for that, guys. As always, thank you for that, seriously. So hopefully, I did a good job of voicing some major thoughts from the community about things that can be addressed and tweaked, added, or fixed, and I'm always willing to work with the GZW team, as I know many of my community would be willing to do the same as we continue to improve the game and work on it in the long term. I do think some of these things need to be addressed more urgently than others, and then some of the other things obviously down the line with future updates. Obviously, I know they've mentioned that there's a 6-month wipe cycle with these major updates coming in, and some of these things can be introduced with patches and such. So with all that said, I want to preface this and say I do want to branch out with my channel, leap of faith going into 2025, and begin to simply play and upload more variety, or just continue to expand the channel, if you will. Games like Delta Force are front of my mind right now, and as some of you may know, I actually won the first tournament that was held alongside launch of that game, and I do feel like my skill level will allow me to compete highly in that game, so I don't want to feel like I'm tying myself down necessarily. Not to, put Gray Zone to a side or anything like that, but that's how I feel right now, and I definitely want to make sure I chase that. And I would love to make content on that game as well, including gun builds, game highlights, and player tips. I always want to make sure I make informative content for you guys, whatever game it might be. I'm also curious. Let me know down below in the comments, what games are you guys playing? I love playing different things, but at times I'm scared to try them and stream because obviously I'm feel like I'm tied down, and I feel like I'll be affected by my viewership. But moving forward, I just want to stream things I truly enjoy. I always have such an anxiety, of that viewer count on here and on YouTube, and I feel like I was mentioning, I have a hand tied behind my back, limiting my enjoyment on stream. I want to do more this year of just being on stream and just playing things I enjoy, and obviously, even if it's like one game going forward or 2 games, whatever it might be, I do just want to be able to be free in a sense and upload things that I want to upload. Obviously, keeping the channel with the main focus of like first-person shooters. I want to make sure that that's clear. The game's going to be, I mainly love extraction shooters, looter shooters. I do enjoy my multiplayer shooters, like the Warfare mode and Delta Force is really fun, but I obviously have a specific type of stuff on my channel that I'm going for, but I want to share that I don't want to feel like the channel is tied down necessarily to Gray Zone Warfare content. However, and I want to improve on every single thing that I am making whenever I'm uploading a video. Each one, I want it to be better than the last. So your guys' constructive criticism down below and each of my videos is always appreciated, and I do try and work on each one of those videos. Again, I've only been doing really full-time content creation for the last 6 months, so I will continue to improve that in 2025 going forward. And I hope that you guys have found a lot of my content entertainment, entertaining and worthy of your guys' time. I also still plan on making Gray Zone Warfare content. Let me clarify that. And before any thoughts of, oh, this channel's done making Gray Zone Warfare content, I'm out of here. I still plan on making Gray Zone Warfare content, uploading stuff obviously regarding news, updates, and then hopping on the game, trying stuff out, hearing what you guys are saying, obviously testing new things and going from there. I do believe in the developers and a vision they have, but for me, I truly want to take that leap in 2025 and move forward with the channel as we continue to grow bounds and obviously push boundaries and grow the channel further and further and further. All right, wow. That was a big spiel, and if you're still here, first off, thank you. I appreciate you a lot. My community is truly wonderful, and I do read all the comments, even though right now I may feel like I'm so busy. I do appreciate every single one of your kind words. I hope you guys enjoy what we got going on and we got coming, and if you're new here, maybe consider a sub, to hop on board the journey that we're going to be pushing forward to, in 2025. I just want to say again, guys, thank you. I love you guys. You guys are absolutely the best. Each one of you guys who takes time out of your day to watch my videos and interact with me, you guys are the best, whether it's here or on my live streams. Thank you guys so much. If you guys didn't know, I live stream over on Twitch as well, so make sure you guys hop back there. I love you guys. Again, thank you. I can't stress that enough. You guys are amazing. Hope you guys are enjoying the holidays. I'll catch you guys in the next video coming out in a few days. Peace out.